Welcome to this tutorial on setting up the detective challenge for your content, and this presentation is brought to you by LodeStar Learning and Rivertown Communications. We're currently in the LodeStar eLearning authoring tool, and this is our template viewer. You've already received instructions. If you subscribe to the detective challenge, you would have received instructions about how to install the template, as well as instructions about how to install the LodeStar license key, and additionally, how to install the OpenAI key if you wish to use artificial intelligence. And for our tutorial today, we will use AI in order to facilitate content creation. Now, what I'll do is navigate to the Detective Challenge template and click on Create Project. The topic that I've chosen for this demonstration is workplace safety. What I'm doing is essentially turning a template into a project. What LodeStar is doing is gathering all the ingredients to make this project work and place it in the workplace safety folder. Now, I can export this project. I can export it to a learning management system following general standards such as SCORM, multiple flavors of SCORM, as well as CMI5, or I can simply place the work safety folder onto a web server and point to the index.htm file. So here we are in the HTML editor, page 1 of 107, and we have some navigation right below. We are able to move forward and backwards as well as save. Highly recommend don't change any of the page IDs, simply follow the instructions. The very first page gives us the instruction, kind of gives us an overview actually of what we're about to do. And what we're about to do is fill in data sets. These are essentially these mini databases that match our main topic in each of our subtopics. We'll add a video and fill in content for our case files and our subtopics, and I'll explain that soon. I'll page forward. Our step one is to configure the setup data set. Now you'll notice below, so here are the instructions, and below you'll see a little sprocket, and this gains us access to the data set. Do not touch the upper part of this. What this is simply doing is defining the properties of our data set. What we'll do is put in the overall title for our project, which is the case of the missing knowledge. Our topic will be workplace safety. And then we'll choose 3 subtopics. Include fire safety, sanitation, and cybersecurity. Essentially, what we'll do is generate facts, falsehoods, and feedback related to general workplace safety. Then we'll drill into each of these subtopics and provide facts, falsehoods, and feedback for each of these subtopics. But you'll see that soon. I scroll down, I use my little my mouse thumb wheel to scroll down, or you can just use the scroll bar. Click on OK, and then of course, I'm just going to save. You'll notice that I frequently save. I'll move forward. So step 2 is about configuring the content video. Now this can either come from YouTube, or you can upload your own video. I highly recommend a video that's fairly short for this type of activity. I'll click on the next page. And then you click on the black rectangle here, and this will give you the video form. Now, where you find the correct URL is at the top. So here I've navigated to workplace safety, and then I have a URL that I'll copy and paste that in. I'll just replace the existing video source with this. Notice the format. So we have the YouTube URL. Then we have V equals, and this is the video ID. Sometimes you'll notice that if you copy this URL, you might get T equals or S equals. You just simply want the video ID and nothing, no other parameters after that. I'll go ahead and click on OK, and that configures my video. So step 3 relates to the case files. Now what I'll do is I'll enlist the help of AI to help generate case file information about workplace safety. And this is essentially information that'll include key concepts, rules, principles, background information. I'll click on this little sprocket. This is my widget sprocket, and scroll down to my AI text generation widget. Click on that, and I'll ask it to provide a paragraph on workplace safety. Click on check. Now, the model we're using here, we'll just use the default AI model, GPT-4 Omni, and then the default number of tokens, and I'll format this as HTML. This will give me some extraneous symbols at the beginning and at the end. I can go ahead and remove that, and I'll remove the symbols at the end, scroll down, and there we have some information. Now I could spend some time formatting this. What I'll do is I'll just highlight all this and change this to 18 point. And again, I could format this and spend much more time formatting it, but for the sake of brevity, I'll just move on. For case file 2, I typically generate definitions. So provide a list of definitions for workplace safety. And then it's now communicating to OpenAI. If this were not to work, if you're unsuccessful, just click generate text again. Sometimes OpenAI can get pretty busy. Again, I'll just remove the beginning and the end, scroll down, click OK, and there I have my workplace definitions. I think this is rather too large. I'll go ahead and change the point size of that. There we go. Click on Save. Next is step 5, and this is the data set related to the general topic, workplace safety. And what we're going to do is ask AI to generate 40 true facts and falsehoods and feedback related to general workplace safety. I'll go ahead and click on the data set here. Again, I won't touch the top. Now I can manually enter these facts. I simply type, and then you can click on the plus to add more items. So I would do this 40 times, add 40 facts, falsehoods, and feedback. So once I have a fact, I'll have a matching falsehood and matching instructive feedback should the learner miss the item. I can delete items, add items, change the order, but changing the order won't make any difference because the program randomly draws from this data set. But I'll use OpenAI. So generate 40 facts about general workplace safety, including matching falsehoods and instructive feedback. I think that'll work. I'll end up copying this just so that I can reuse it. Now, the number of items. Again, our model is going to be the default model, default tokens, but here I'll choose 40 items and then go ahead and generate text. Again, if this is unsuccessful, just try again, but it's communicating to OpenAI. And the thing that we're looking out for is right here. Does it populate the data set or not with these 40 items? We'll soon find out. So it communicates to OpenAI and it shows us how many tokens we've consumed. Communication successful. Click OK. Let's take a look at one fact, falsehood, and feedback. Proper lifting techniques reduce the risk of back injuries. That's a fact. Lifting with a rounded back is safe. That's a falsehood. Feedback, should the learner uh, incorrectly select the falsehood, the feedback will be always lift with your legs, keeping your back straight. Now, do we have 40 items? We can just click on the arrow to page through the items, and we can see that indeed we have 40 items. Click OK and save. Next, we're going to include 20 facts about our first subtopic, and that's fire safety. We'll click on the sprocket. We'll ask OpenAI. Now this time I'll ask it to produce 20 facts about workplace fire safety. I'll change the number of items to 20 and then generate text. Same model, same number of tokens, but we've reduced the number of items to 20. Now, it won't hurt anything if you have 30, 40 items. It'll just randomly draw what it needs. So if you had 100 items, it would just randomly draw 20 items from that 100. No problem. It seems that everything's successful. So a fact is fire extinguisher should be easily accessible in case of an emergency. A falsehood, fire extinguishers can be kept in locked cabinets. That's a falsehood, and then we have feedback. Click on OK. Oh, you can see right here, if we have 20 items, you can see that very clearly, and we can page through each of these items. We're good. Now I'll page forward. So here's our first expert. We don't change anything here. None of this will be shown when we preview, but this is our first expert is investigator Margaret, and she'll have a point of view about fire safety. So we'll ask AI to give us expert Margaret's advice. I'm asking it to write a paragraph about fire safety in the workplace. Scroll down, click OK. And then I'll just make that 18 point. So this is investigator Margaret's point of view about fire safety. And then I would do the same thing related to Professor Quinn. He's our second expert on fire safety. And perhaps, Margaret could focus on fire safety related to chemical fires, and Professor Quinn can give us advice about fire safety related to electrical fires. I won't go through, the tedium of adding every expert's opinion here. It's the same procedure. I can simply type in or paste in or ask AI to generate information related to fire safety from Professor Quinn's point of view, but you get the idea. And so I notice here, there's an error here. This is really from Dr. Kathy's point of view. She's our third expert. We'll ignore that. We'll just provide information from our third expert. Step 10 relates to facts about our second subtopic. And we'll go ahead and click this, ask OpenAI to generate 20 facts about workplace sanitation safety. And we'll go ahead, generate the text. Again, we're communicating to OpenAI. And what we'll get back if we're successful is the number of tokens we've consumed. And there we go. Regular hand washing reduces the spread of infections. The falsehood is hand washing is unnecessary if using gloves. We have 20 items. We're good. Next, I'll put in information related to investigator Margaret. So this will relate to sanitation, and then Professor Quinn, and then Dr. Kathy. All of them giving their opinions about sanitation in the workplace. Our last data set relates to our third subtopic, which will be cybersecurity. I'll click on the sprocket. So here I'm asking it to generate 20 facts about workplace cybersecurity safety, including falsehoods and feedback. All the parameters are the same model, same tokens, same number of items. We're done. We have 20 items. So for example, our fact is using strong, unique passwords for each account enhances security. Reusing passwords across accounts is secure is a falsehood. We're good. Do our final save. We would then put in information related to this topic of cybersecurity from investigator Margaret's point of view, Professor Quinn, and Dr. Kathy's point of view. And you'll see how that will come to play in a minute. Step 18, I would ignore. Step 18 is if you wanted to have your own custom suspect photos. So here are 40 suspects. I would just say leave that alone. If, however, you did want to change this, you would click on this panel, click on the suspect, and go ahead and download images or upload images from your hard drive. Now, if you do that, do not change the ID. Each of these has its own ID, and that's really, really important because the program will then get the right image based on the ID. So you just leave that alone. leave everything alone. If you want to replace the image, you can go ahead, but I would advise you not to. So that's step 18. That's our final step. And you would not go any further. This is it. We're done. Now we simply preview in the browser. And what we're seeing now, what we'll see is essentially the whole program with our content from the point of view of the learner. So this all gets loaded. Then we have our instructions.
Hey rookie, welcome to the team. I just got off the phone with the chief, and we have a new case that I think you will be perfect for. There's been a wave of missing knowledge from a very important training topic. Your assignment is to review the knowledge that was stolen, interrogate the suspects who may have done it, and zero in on a prime suspect to close the case and save the day. When you are ready to get started, click the next button. Today, we launch an investigation into the missing knowledge. First, let's fire up the old projector and see what we can learn from some of these film reels. Click.
So here's our custom video. This is the video that we pasted in.
Workplace safety.
This was the video that we pasted in the YouTube link for. So we've included that. Again, this could have been simply uploaded so you can have a custom video that precisely matches your content, and this template supports that.
Next, we need to go through the case files to learn the essential information on this very important training topic.
Okay.
Open the case files below to review the essential background information that you will need to begin your investigation into the missing knowledge. Once you have completed reviewing the files, click the next button to proceed with the investigation. If at any time...
And then we have our first round of interviews.
Now that you have a good understanding of the missing knowledge that we are looking for, it is time to start interviewing potential suspects. We will start with the usual suspects. After interviewing them and evaluating the information they give, you should be able to find at least 24 of them that have some of the missing knowledge. We have gathered the usual suspects for you to begin your interrogations.
So what we're doing now is reading each of these statements from each of the suspects and deciding whether or not the statement is true, whether it's a fact or falsehood. Lockout, tagout procedures prevent accidental energy release. I think that's right. Ergonomics aren't important. That's wrong. Regular glasses can be substituted for safety glasses. No. Correct posture reduces the risk of problems. Yes. I'll evaluate. Here you can see that there's no corrective feedback, which means that everything I've chosen is correct. I'll click on next suspects. Now I'll purposely select something that's false, just so that we can see the feedback. Proper disposal of waste prevents workplace hazards. Well, that's correct. Effective communication reinforces safety practices. That's correct. Fire extinguishers last indefinitely. Well, that's incorrect. That's a falsehood, but I'll select it anyway. Regular breaks prevent fatigue. That's correct. Now I'll evaluate, and you can see that here I'm getting feedback. Regular checks ensure fire extinguishers are functional and reliable. So far we've selected 6 suspects. Now at any time I could click this folder and I could review feedback. So here you can see that one piece of feedback that was provided. Now what I'll do is just simply, just to move on, I'll go ahead and quickly evaluate. Now I'm going to make all kinds of mistakes now because I'm not even bothering to read. And you can see the feedback is starting to accumulate. So we've selected 22 suspects so far. There's our 24. And we can see that there's quite a bit of feedback related to, well, these are related to all the statements that we chose that were actual falsehoods, and it's providing us with the corrective feedback.
Great job. We're down to 24 suspects. It's time to do more interrogations to make sure that we charge the right suspects.
Okay. Well, now here we have our 3 subtopics: fire safety, and this is from the point of view investigator Margaret. And then, of course, we haven't done anything related to Professor Quinn and Dr. Kathy. Again, at any time, I could click and I could bring up, for example, information from case file 1 or my definitions. At any time, if I need to rehearse my memory about definitions, I can do that, as well as looking at the feedback.
Using the information provided by the experts, it's time to interrogate some of the suspects. Click on each of the suspects to interrogate them.
When we click on a suspect, we get a statement: emergency lighting is unnecessary. If I'm uncertain about this, I can click again, and then I get a second statement, and a third, and a fourth. So complex fire safety signs can be used to convey detailed instructions. Well, that's not good. Fire evacuation procedures should only be known. No. Fire doors can be propped open for convenience. That's not true. Fire exits must remain up. Oh, that looks right. So 6 is definitely a candidate. Only fire wardens need training. Electrical equipment should be inspected. So 6 and 8 are definite candidates. Portable heaters can remain on after hours. No. And any fire extinguisher can be used for all types of fires. No. So 6 and 8.
Drag the suspects who hold correct information to the prime suspects board, and then charge them by selecting the Charge Suspects button. When you are finished, click the next button to continue.
And again, we would do the same thing for sanitation. We would read the expert's point of view.
Using the information provided by the experts, it's time to interrogate some of the suspects. Click on each of the suspects to interrogate them and see what kind of information they give. You can click on them as many times as you need to determine if they have the correct information or not. Be alert. Some of the suspects who gave you good information in the first round of interrogations will not do so. Drag the suspects who hold correct information to the prime suspects board, and then charge them. Using the information provided by the experts.
Now, these are our final suspects for our last interrogation. So 2-factor authentication, again, this is all related now to cybersecurity. 2-factor authentication is an optional luxury. Well, that's incorrect. Using antivirus software helps detect and neutralize. Okay, 20 looks good. So far, only 20 looks good. And 30 looks good, and I could double check. Disabling unused services and ports reduces attack surfaces. 20 and 30 are good
Drag
candidates.
the suspects who hold correct information.
So 20 and 30 are good. I'll charge them and then move on. So far I've earned 52 out of 80 points.
Well done, detective.
Okay, so this is just introducing.
Welcome to the first day of the trial. Our goal is.
So our goal is to, now we've reduced the number of suspects. Are they still giving us facts. Now, a suspect can give us a fact in the previous round and a falsehood now, so we have to double check. Working under the influence of drugs is unsafe. Yes, sprinkler systems should be regularly maintained and tested. That's good. Disinfecting high-touch surfaces minimizes germs. All downloadable applications are safe. No, it's okay to place items in front of. No. So only 3 of these are right. There's no corrective feedback, so all 3 of these are right. We've now earned 60. We're at round 4.
Welcome to day 2 of the trial.
Slips and falls are preventable through proper housekeeping. Yes. Smoke alarms must be regularly tested. Yes. Feedback is unnecessary. Wrong. We'll evaluate that.
You've made it to the last day of the trial. Hopefully your research of the missing knowledge has successfully led you to the prime suspect. Select the one suspect who continues to give you correct information, and then click the Evaluate button to commit your selection.
Minor electrical faults can be ignored. Well, that's not true. Fire prevention measures should be integrated into regular safety audits. Yeah, that looks good. And then we've earned 67.5 points.
Congratulations on the trial. If you are happy with your score, click the next button to proceed. Great job. Your work has led to the conviction of the prime suspect.
We did manage to select the prime suspect. We didn't get a very, very good overall score. And if we were connected to a learner record store, what you would see here is the leaderboard. So this is the Detective Challenge leaderboard. In this case, in this instance, we're not connected to a learner record store, but that is optional. That's supported by this template, that it can be connected to a learner record store. And in that case, then we would be saving scores from each of the participants and listing that here in a leaderboard. And then finally, our score will be reported to a learning management system. Now, here we're not currently connected to a learning management system, so the scores are never saved. One final step, and that is the export. We want to export our project to our learning management system. We click on Export. What's happening now is everything is being saved. We have the option of choosing SCORM 1.3, which is recommended. Most learning management systems support 1.3. If this is being saved to Inspire, you would choose 1.2. And some systems do support CMI 5. So I would either choose 1.3 or 1.2. And I'll go ahead and type in a module. This relates to workplace safety, so I'll go ahead and type that in for the module name. The topic, I can call it a challenge, and then put in my initials. Click on Create Export. What's happening now is this whole project is being zipped up following the SCORM standard, and it's available in my LodeStar folder under Exports, workplace_safety.zip. That concludes our presentation on configuring the Detective Challenge template for your own content. Thanks so much for joining us.